we know that there's actual cloning going on. The real question is cloning going on? Yeah, it is.
There is one person in the entire Hollywood entertainment industry who has never been proven wrong, not even once. Whether it was about Diddy, the industry gatekeepers, or Harvey Weinstein, Katt was actually speaking the truth. At a time when other comedians were being blackballed and rappers were falling in line, he stood on that stage, looked the world straight in the eye, and had the courage to say exactly what everyone else was too afraid to mention.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
And now he's talking about NBA YoungBoy, and what he's saying is going to change everything you think you know. Before we get into this, I need y'all to do me a favor. Like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because this is the kind of content that gets taken down. I'm not joking. We've already had to re-upload this twice. They don't want you to see this, so share it before it's gone. Now, let's get into it. January 2024, Katt Williams sits down with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay, and what followed was the most watched interview in podcast history. Over 80 million views, the internet was on fire for weeks. But here's what most people missed. Everybody was focused on the Cedric the Entertainer jokes, the Steve Harvey stuff, the Kevin Hart bars. That was the surface layer, the entertainment. But underneath all of that, Katt was dropping coordinates. At one point in that interview, Katt says, and I want you to listen to this carefully. He says, everything I've ever said has been proven true. Everything. Give it time. Shannon laughed. The audience laughed. But Katt didn't laugh. He just sat there with that look. Y'all know the look. The one where his eyes go still and you realize this man is not joking. And then about 40 minutes in, Katt makes a reference that flew completely over everybody's heads. He talks about young artists being taken to places they shouldn't be, and how by the time they come back, they're different people. Shannon tried to pivot. Katt led him. But the seed was planted. He wasn't talking about mentorship. He wasn't talking about the studio. He was talking about something else entirely.
I don't want no parts. I done seen what these things can do to people. Anything that take over your free will is the devil itself.
Have you ever thought about what your life would have been had you stayed in Dayton, Ohio?
No.
To really grasp what Katt is implying, you have to look closely at the NBA YoungBoy timeline. When you actually map it out, the pieces don't quite fit. Born Kentrell Deshaun Galden, YoungBoy was first arrested at just 16 years old. By 17, his rap career was taking off, and by 18, he was already one of the most streamed artists in the world. By the time he turned 19, he had faced multiple arrests, fathered several children, and was already navigating life on house arrest. But here is the detail everyone seems to overlook. Between 2019 and 2021, YoungBoy was constantly moving in and out of custody.
YoungBoy. The rapper was arrested around 4:30 Tuesday morning on multiple drug charges. The rapper was one of 16 arrested at the scene.
3 of them, I believe, were convicted felons. So they, if they didn't have weapons in their possession, they were around weapons.
According to BRPD, they all attempted to run upon their arrival. The alleged suspicious behavior led police to search cars at the scene. They confiscated 14 guns, $79,000 in cash and drugs. Galden was released on $75,000 bond Tuesday afternoon.
The rapper's attorney argues his client never had possession of the weapons or drugs because he doesn't own any of the cars on the scene. The attorney released a statement saying, in part, his client is innocent of all charges he was booked on last night and looks forward to defending himself.
There are gaps in the timeline, weeks, sometimes even months, where he completely vanished. No social media presence, no new music, nothing. Then he would suddenly resurface, but the music would feel different. Even his voice seemed slightly off. If you look at the photos, I'm putting them side by side for you right now. His facial features look subtly different. Most people dismiss this as simple weight fluctuations, or just the natural process of growing up. He's young, so people think it's just aging. However, in a separate, lesser-known radio interview in Atlanta late in 2024, Katt Williams said something that was truly chilling. He said that boy was taken somewhere. He mentioned that the person who returned works incredibly hard, perhaps too hard, as if he's trying to make up for lost time or is following a strict schedule. A schedule. Just think about that word for a second. This is where things get dark and I have to be very careful with my words, because as I mentioned, this video has been taken down twice already. When the truth about Jeffrey Epstein's operation finally came out, the public focused on the big names, the politicians, billionaires, and Hollywood elites. But there was an entire side to that operation that remained in the shadows, the scientific layer. Multiple whistleblowers, people who actually worked on that island, have alleged there were facilities on the property and nearby that weren't built for entertainment at all. They were laboratories. The mainstream media buried these claims immediately, labeling them as conspiracy theories and moving on. But Katt Williams didn't move on. In a 2024 special, and I use the word comedy loosely because he wasn't being funny, Katt went on a 5-minute tangent about islands where they don't just take your dignity, they take your identity. The audience laughed nervously, but Katt just stared into the camera with dead eyes. No punchline followed. Then he asked, "Why do you think certain young rappers go missing for a while and come back with a completely new personality?" He told the crowd that it wasn't growth, it was replacement. At that point, the room went silent. Now, I'm not a sound engineer, but there are people online who are, and what they've discovered is troubling. Multiple audio analysts have compared NBA YoungBoy's vocal patterns from his early mixtapes like 38 Baby and AI YoungBoy to his more recent projects. They found measurable differences, not just in his style or delivery, but in the actual frequency, resonance, and pitch patterns of his voice. Of course, voices change over time, especially for someone who started as a teenager. I'll give you that, but what these analysts flagged was that the changes don't follow a natural progression. It isn't a gradual shift, it's a sudden jump. It's as if someone flipped a switch between 2019 and 2021. Katt Williams addressed this directly in a backstage interview that was captured on a phone and leaked. To paraphrase his words, he told people to really listen to the music. He explained that the older songs are filled with genuine pain, while the newer material feels like data, technically perfect, but completely lacking a soul. He told the interviewer that's how you can tell the difference. Think about that for a second. If a clone were actually possible, it might have the technical skills, the memories, and the talent, but would it have a soul? Would it possess that specific spark that made the original artist so special? Katt doesn't believe so, and honestly, when you listen to the tracks back to back, it's hard to disagree with him. Then there's the elephant in the room, the sheer volume of music. NBA YoungBoy has put out more projects than almost any other active artist in hip-hop today. We're talking about dozens of mixtapes, albums, and compilations in just a few short years, all while being on house arrest, fighting federal cases, and supposedly raising several children.
It seemed like, people were saying, well, you're only obligated to do a certain amount of albums, but you over-deliver, right? You gave them so many projects.
It brings some type of good feeling to put a tape together and just release it. I left Atlanta because I wanted to experience some more stuff.
I rest my case. Even the subject matter, to me, it sounds like the album focuses on a lot on love.
Like I see people talking about raging music and these sort of terms. And you also challenge the aesthetic, like people saying, well, was it face painting or painting your nails and doing these different sort of style things? Like, what is it? What
You still feel that way? And according to Illuminate, in 2022, you're the 3rd most streamed artist in the United States, right behind Drake and Taylor Swift, man.
I just be having a point to prove, just be having something to say.
You obviously know you've influenced a whole generation and influenced so many other rappers.
Do you realize how insane that level of output actually is? Most artists who have full teams, professional studios, and complete creative freedom usually only drop one album every 2 or 3 years. In contrast, YoungBoy is releasing multiple projects every single year. And we aren't talking about low-quality throwaways. These are full-length projects that have been fully produced, mixed, and mastered for release.
What I think about YoungBoy dropping 5 albums a year, I think it's dumb, bro. I mean, I don't even know where to start with YoungBoy anymore. I'm not a big fan of his music because if you drop that many tracks in a year, of course, if you're some people maybe are talented like that, maybe Juice WRLD, I'd say, of just being able to come up with new flows and new types of songs on different beats, just being able to freestyle on the spot, whole ass songs. They're not even punching in, just freestyling for a whole hour. Y'all remember that freestyle that Juice WRLD did? But again, 5 projects, man, it's just too much, man.
Katt Williams brought this up, pointing out that it is physically impossible for one person to produce that much music alone. He suggested that either a machine is generating it for him, or there is more than one person involved in the process. What's even wilder is that YoungBoy's own fans have noticed this too. If you visit any fan forum, you'll see people debating over which version of YoungBoy is their favorite. They literally categorize his music into specific eras as if they are discussing entirely different artists. You'll hear them say, "I like the 2018 YoungBoy," or "the 2020 YoungBoy is just different." They are acknowledging the change themselves, even if they don't realize the implications of what they're saying. But here is the question no one is asking. If cloning were actually happening, speaking hypothetically of course, why target YoungBoy? Out of all the rappers in the world, why choose a teenager from Baton Rouge? Katt Williams has a chilling answer for that. He explained that they don't necessarily go after the biggest artists. They choose the ones with the most influence over the youth. They target the ones kids actually listen to and follow. Think about the logic. If you can control the person the youth follows, you can control the youth themselves. NBA YoungBoy's fan base is one of the youngest and most loyal in the entire industry. We are talking about teenagers and kids who are still forming their identities and worldviews, and they absolutely worship him.
Ain't no way these YoungBoy fans are real people.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of the NBA YoungBoy, and to the republic on 4K trade.
These people look at him like he's God. It's one thing to like somebody's music, but it's another thing when you're on your knees crying to him while he's on stage performing. You can't scroll down on your feed without seeing some YNs going crazy looking like they're getting possessed at this YoungBoy concert.
If you wanted to broadcast a message, push an agenda, or shift the entire culture in a specific direction, you wouldn't choose someone like Jay-Z. His audience is grown. They are already set in their ways. Instead, you would target the artist whose fans are still impressionable and moldable. You would choose YoungBoy. Katt noted that it was never actually about the music. It was about access to the next generation. I know some of you are thinking this sounds completely insane, and I understand that. But ask yourself this. Didn't people say the exact same thing when Katt Williams claimed Hollywood was crawling with predators? Didn't they say it was crazy when he said gatekeepers were deciding exactly who gets famous? Weren't people skeptical when he called out Diddy as dangerous years before anyone else dared to say it publicly? Every single time, Katt Williams has told us the truth. And every single time we refused to believe him until it was far too late.
Well, what it was that I was attempting to do was impossible. So before I do this interview, there is no Illuminati. It's just a joke. It's just something that crazy people talk about. There's no such thing as our side and God's side. None of that is even real. I gotta come and make it real. So that's why when I said that, nobody came out and went, "That's not true. I'm on God's side." If part of the ritual is wearing a dress, then we should be able to look through entertainment and see all of these people being made to wear a dress.
You spoke about the comedy club circuit, how specific comedians are manufactured and promoted while genuine talent is suppressed. People laughed at the time, but the industry eventually confirmed it was true. He warned us about the parties. People laughed again, and then the indictment started rolling in. He told us about the contracts and how artists sign away their likeness without even reading the fine print. People laughed. And then we discovered the reality of 360 deals. So, when Katt Williams sits in front of a camera and tells you that NBA YoungBoy was taken to a facility, that something was done to him, and that the person releasing music today is not the same person who started, are you really going to laugh this time? Now we come to the moment that inspired this entire video. It was a moment that broke the internet for about 45 minutes in late 2024 before being completely scrubbed. Katt Williams went on Instagram Live without any announcement or promotion. For about 12 minutes, he spoke directly to the lens. No jokes, no characters, just Katt. Multiple people screen recorded this before it was deleted, so the footage is verified. He said, "I've been to places that would make you question reality. I've seen things in this industry that simply have no explanation. I've watched them take talented, gifted, and powerful young black men and return something that looks and sounds like them, but isn't actually them." He then paused, stared directly into the camera and said, "Kentrell knows, or the thing that used to be Kentrell knows." The stream ended abruptly, and the video was scrubbed within the hour. Instagram claimed a terms of service violation, but the thousands who saw it had already spread screen recordings across Twitter and TikTok before those were also taken down. Ask yourself this. If this was just a wild conspiracy theory from a comedian, why was there such an intense effort to erase it? Let's look at the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about NBA YoungBoy, one island, or one comedian. For over a decade, Katt Williams has been warning us that the entertainment industry operates on a level the public never sees. A level where artists are viewed as assets, talent is a commodity, and the person behind the music is disposable while the brand remains permanent. What if the reason the music industry maintains such an impossible pace isn't because these artists are working harder? What if the system has found a way to keep the machine running even when the original artist is gone? YoungBoy is in jail, yet the music keeps coming. He's on house arrest, yet the music keeps coming. He's fighting a federal case and the music still keeps coming. At some point, you have to ask yourself how that is possible. Katt Williams gave us the answer. We just didn't want to hear it. I want to leave you with a quote from Katt that has stayed with me. "The truth doesn't need you to believe it. It's still the truth whether you accept it or not. I've made my peace with that. I say what I say, and time does the rest." Time eventually revealed the truth about Diddy and other industry secrets. Perhaps in time it will do the same here. Until then, I'm just asking questions, and so is Katt. Like, subscribe, and share this video before it gets taken down again. And remember, if they could clone a sheep years ago, what makes you think they stopped there?